Hakeem, the series may be a done deal, but it ain't over between you and me. Sure, you're pretty good with your team behind you, but I want you one-on-one.
After the 1995 NBA Finals, in which Shaquille O'Neal's Magic lost to Hakeem Olajuwon's Rockets, Shaq sent that type note to Olajuwon. This vengeful message set the stage for a one-on-one showdown between the two giants, scheduled 3 months later with a $1 million jackpot prize for the victor. Dubbed the War on the Floor and sponsored by Taco Bell, TV ads began to roll out on the air to promote the event.
It will be the heavyweight battle of the year. Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, one-on-one. 10 rounds, $1 million. Shaq, Hakeem, one-on-one. Saturday, September 30th, live on pay-per-view.
Anticipation was high as viewers speculated what the outcome would be. However, a day before the game, Hakeem withdrew, citing a back injury sustained while lifting weights. The match was canceled, and the public never got the one-on-one matchup they so desired. Yet the question still remained: if Shaq and Hakeem had faced off, who would have emerged victorious? The rules. To determine this hypothetical outcome, we must cover the supposed rules that were going to be in place for this game. Instead of a single game to 15 or 21 points, the format comprised of 10 2-minute rounds, each worth $100,000. A 12-second shot clock per possession was added to ensure a high-pace, high-intensity game. If a round ended with a tie, then the points and money for that round would carry over into the next round until there was a victor. The point system would be done as if it were a regular game, counting 2s and 3s with one exception. Any shots made from 32 feet and beyond would be worth a huge 6 points. The stats. Examining their career matchups revealed a surprising balance. In regular season encounters, Shaq's teams prevailed 14 out of 20 times, while Hakeem's squads triumphed in 5 out of 8 postseason clashes. For the regular season, Shaq held statistical advantages in 4 of the 6 important categories. For the playoffs, Shaq held even bigger statistical advantages, this time in 5 of the 6 important categories. For a more accurate and relevant assessment though, let's focus on the 1995 and 1996 seasons in particular. Shaq, at 23, showcased a remarkable third NBA season, winning his first scoring title, securing all NBA second-team spots, and leading the Magic to victory over Jordan's Bulls in the playoffs. That's a feat that not many people can say they have on their resume. For Olajuwon, age 32, 1995 was his 11th season in the league. He led his team to a championship in 1994 and became even better the next season. He averaged roughly 33 points throughout his second playoff run and knocked out legends like Malone, Barkley, Robinson, and lastly Shaq in the finals to win back-to-back championships. The key takeaways from this being that when Shaq and Hakeem would have met in September 1995, you'd have a version of Hakeem who was 32 years old and in his prime, facing a 23-year-old Shaq who was vastly improving each season. A student versus the master type battle. Well, what happens when the student is on the verge of becoming the master? Since their numbers are so close to each other, contrasting and comparing their individual skill sets that are relevant to the format of the hypothetical game is crucial to determining the victor in this matchup. Factors such as free throws, technical skills, six-pointers, and stamina must be analyzed. Free throws. Originally, the way fouls were going to be handled was the first 2 fouls of each round were going to be called non-shooting fouls, and then everything after that was going to be a shooting foul. In honor of the competitor's spirit, we will assume, for the sake of argument, that Hakeem would have willfully refrained from doing the hack-a-Shaq technique. That's a big advantage for Shaq, because if you don't want to send him to the free throw line, then there aren't many options to slow him down. Shaq could just hammer his way into the lane at will. Furthermore, during the summer of 1995, Shaq bulked up, gaining over 20 pounds of muscle so he could play Kazam. Shaq would have shown up to the one-on-one game way bigger than he was even just a few months earlier when the two battled in the finals. Technical skills. If we're going to say that Shaq would have spent most of his time trying to beat up Hakeem down low, then we have to consider the inverse as well. Shaq would have been a force in the paint, but Hakeem was faster around the rim with his pivots and could shoot better from range than the Big Diesel. Furthermore, Hakeem had better handles than Shaq, which is a huge asset in this sort of game where each possession restarts at the top of the key. How many times do you think Hakeem would have been able to pull Shaq away from the rim? Yet another aspect to consider is rebounding. Longer shots usually cause long rebounds when they miss, and, all other things being equal, long rebounds usually go to the quicker player, which is another advantage for Hakeem. Six-pointers. I'd like to believe that either Hakeem or Shaq or both would have at least attempted 1 or 2 or 3 of those 32-foot six-pointers. The reward if you can connect on one of those is well worth the effort. Let's say Hakeem shot 4 32-footers. If he connects on just one, that's the same as hitting 3 out of 4 two-pointers. Could Hakeem have hit 25% from 32 feet away from the basket easier than Shaq could have hit 75% of his shots near the basket? And if Hakeem does hit 1 or 2, what does Shaq do? Because if he comes all the way out there to guard him, then again, Hakeem's quickness will give him the edge on future possessions. Stamina. If any of you viewers have played one-on-one, you know that it becomes super taxing really quick. That 12-second shot clock enforces a high pace of play and mandates endurance as a necessary quality for the combatants. Now, most people, including myself, would be inclined to say that this category would favor Hakeem. But in doing research for this project, I stumbled across this clip from an interview that made me second guess what I thought.
I remember talking to Hakeem Olajuwon. They're getting ready to play you guys in the playoffs. And I said, so how you gonna handle Shaq? He said, oh man, he's so big, man. I'm just gonna make him run. I'm gonna run him up and down the court real fast, and he's gotta get tired. So now I was at the game, doing the game, sitting courtside, and after about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, he walked by me and he said, he's not getting tired. He goes, he's not getting tired. I don't know what to do next because he is not getting tired.
After listening to the story, I chalk this category up as a draw. The game. I'm going to walk us through each round as how I would imagine they would have played out. Round 1. Hakeem is surprised by Shaq's new mass. Shaq pounds on him a lot.
Pause.
It's too much for Hakeem. Shaq wins the first round by a score of 10-4. Round 2. Hakeem modifies his defense on Shaq. He starts trying to speed the game up. Shaq is unfazed and keeps up the pace. Shaq wins the second round by a score of 6-4. Round 3. Shaq, feeling proud and hoping to showcase that his skill level is above Hakeem's, attempts a six-pointer. It clanks off the backboard. Hakeem capitalizes on the wasted possession. Hakeem hits 3 mid-range buckets in a row, pulling away. Shaq decides to conserve his energy. Hakeem wins the round by a score of 12-2. Round 4. Both players settle in defensively. It's clear that the war on the floor has become tense. Hakeem almost wins this round, but is still fatigued from the last round. He shoots a last-second jumper that clanks short off the front of the rim. They tie 4-4. The winner of the next round will be awarded points for both that round and this one. Round 5. Hakeem hits a 19-footer to start this round and bounced back from his last missed shot. Shaq creeps out to guard him further from the rim on the next possession. Hakeem blows by him for an easy layup. Upset, Shaq decides he won't venture any further than 12 feet away from the basket. Hakeem, testing Shaq's new strategy, dribbles out to the 6-point line. Shaq stays firm in the paint. Hakeem takes the shot and swishes through. He wins the round 10-2. Round 6. Shaq, all the way upset that he's suddenly losing 3 rounds to 2, activates Superman mode. He dominates the round, winning by a score of 14-4. Round 7. Shaq decides to switch up his flow and go with more finesse this round. Hakeem gets a similar idea and goes to his signature up and under layups. Both get into their offensive bags. Shaq ends this round with a jump hook at the buzzer to win 10-8. Round 8. Hakeem decides to turn up the lateral movement and puts Shaq in the spin cycle with the Dream Shake. This time, Hakeem wins the round 10-8. Both players have won 4 rounds. Round 9. In the game's most intense round, neither player has much offensive success. Multiple shots roll around the rim, but few go down. This round ends with a 2-2 tie. The winner of the final round will be awarded the 9th round victory as well. Round 10. Shaq jumps out to an early 6-0 lead, which Hakeem answers in the clutch with a 6-pointer to tie the game. Shaq has possession and tries to go to his bread and butter, using his muscle to move Hakeem out of the way and get an easy close-range dunk. Shaq tries to hammer a dunk over Hakeem, but the Dream manages to deflect the shot with an outstretched arm. With just 12 seconds left on the clock, Hakeem chases down his block. He grabs the ball and looks at the scoreboard. It's still 6-6. He looks at Shaq. He drives left. Shaq bites. Hakeem spins back and away to his right. Shaq tries to recover. Hakeem raises up and fades as he shoots a mid-range baseline jumper. Shaq's too slow to get a hand up in time. The ball's released into the air.
Put it up. Falling away, puts it up. Bang!
And the ball swishes through the net. Olajuwon wins the round, 8-6, and also the game, 6-4. And that was the Shaq versus Hakeem Taco Bell one-on-one showdown. I spent a lot of time researching and editing this project, so I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like and a comment and maybe even subscribe for future videos like this. Let me know if y'all thought it would have played out any differently. Also, make sure to follow my other pages on TikTok and my gaming channel.